Thanks. I'm CNN legal analyst Jeffrey Toobin with Court TV's Lisa Bloom and CNN contributor Michael Smerconish. Welcome to Attorneys at Law.
We'll review the top legal cases from Scott Peterson's defense to McDonald's lawsuit against a food critic.
Let's begin with the big case, Martha Stewart's day in court. Martha Stewart has pleaded not guilty to charges she conspired to hide an illegal stock sale made in December of 2001. A federal grand jury charged Stewart with making false statements, obstruction of justice, securities fraud, and conspiracy. In addition, the Securities and Exchange Commission filed a civil suit accusing her of insider trading. Prosecutors chose not to bring criminal insider trading charges. Ms. Stewart has stepped down as chairman and CEO of her company, but will remain on the board and serve as the chief creative officer. Lisa, I think you've put your finger on it. There's a Nixonian quality to this prosecution in that it's not the underlying conduct that they're trying to pinch her for, so to speak, but instead it's the way in which she reacted to it. And I found myself a little bit sympathetic this week toward Martha Stewart. I mean, Martha Stewart was the victim of an indiscretion by a broker. Now I'm putting Martha Stewart and the word victim in the same sentence.
But you know. Thanks. I'm CNN legal analyst Jeffrey Toobin with Court TV's Catherine Cryer and CNN contributor Michael Smerconish. Welcome to Attorneys at Law.
The judge in the Scott Peterson trial slaps a gag order on all participants, but that won't stop us. We'll talk about it coming up. But first, we'd like to welcome our guest, former Assistant U.S. Attorney David Schertler. Welcome, David.
Thank you.
His lawyer made quite a plea for leniency, bringing up everything from the fact that his parents were Holocaust survivors to the fact that he was friendly with the janitor at the company, and it didn't wash. As a matter of fact, he pled guilty, but he still got the max under the federal sentencing guidelines. Now, if I'm the CFO of WorldCom and I'm awaiting trial, why am I going to plead? I may as well take my chances.
Thanks. I'm CNN legal analyst Jeffrey Toobin with Court TV's Lisa Bloom and CNN contributor Michael Smerconish. Welcome to Attorneys at Law.
Martha Stewart has an important appointment in her day planner. We'll get the latest on her day in court.
But first, let's begin with the big case, an Arizona bishop's fall from grace. A fatal hit-and-run accident has cost Bishop Thomas O'Brien his job as head of the Catholic Church in Phoenix. O'Brien is the first bishop in the United States to resign in the face of criminal charges. Bishop O'Brien was charged with leaving the scene of an accident in which a 43-year-old pedestrian, Jim Reed, was killed. O'Brien said he thought he'd hit an animal or a rock. Prosecutors are trying to determine if alcohol were a factor. Just 2 weeks ago, Bishop O'Brien struck a deal to avoid prosecution for mishandling cases of sexual misconduct by priests. Pam, I served with Frank Keating back in the Department of Housing and Urban Development in the first Bush administration. The guy's a straight shooter. I mean, he's a former U.S. attorney, a former FBI agent, and it resonates with me when he says that this thing has been like La Cosa Nostra, because just take a look at the gentleman we're now discussing in the hit and run. He signed an unprecedented immunity agreement.
He signed a consent decree saying that he would cooperate. It's not unprecedented.
Well, but wait a minute, what is...
No. There have been several bishops that have signed that type of agreement where they are going to move forward and do a better job of getting that information out.
When you say several have signed it now, I'm tempted to say, yeah, there's a whole family of conspirators that are on. Look, this is my tribe. It offends me terribly, but we've got a clean house. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Thanks. I'm CNN legal analyst Jeffrey Toobin with Court TV's Lisa Bloom and CNN contributor Michael Smerconish. Welcome to Attorneys at Law.
Controversial decisions from the highest court in the land. We'll discuss how the Supreme Court's rulings may affect you.
Our guest is criminal and civil defense attorney Robert Tarver. He's also a legal analyst with NorthstarNetwork.com. We have a full caseload on the docket. Let's begin with the latest in the Scott Peterson case. It'll be at least September before Scott Peterson finds out whether he'll stand trial on charges that he killed his wife and unborn son. A judge postponed his preliminary hearing. When it does take place, we may not be able to see it. Laci Peterson's family wants cameras banned from the courtroom, and the judge refused the defense's request to lift a gag order imposed on trial participants. He added that the gag order does not apply to attorney Gloria Allred, who represents Scott's former girlfriend, Amber Frey, a potential trial witness. Let me ask Robert Tarver, do you think this is a case that ultimately will be televised?
Of course, the Court TV person wants cameras in the courtroom, but is there any public interest here? I mean, what is the public's right to know about a relatively mysteriously popular murder case? What difference does it make?
I don't know how mysteriously popular the case really is. I know that the media loves the case. I also know that it's the summer and we didn't find any weapons of mass destruction. But you know the argument, Jeffrey, you as a citizen theoretically could walk into that courtroom, so consequently, why shouldn't Lisa be able to do so with her camera?